Anthony, we're back in the saddle. It's Monday.
It's Monday.
Today is going to be pretty rad. Listen.
I'm Anthony. Welcome to No Vacancy Live. That's my friend Glenn.
You're watching the #1 show in hospitality.
Hey, everybody. Welcome. Anthony Melchiori. Right over there, man. I love starting off the week by making you laugh, dude.
Did you see me in the green room? I almost fell off my chair.
Yeah, for sure. That was pretty awesome. Hey,
that was so bad. It was good.
I know. Well, that's what that's what I specialize in, is those bad dad type jokes. All right, everybody. Welcome to No Vacancy Live. Of course, you got me, Glenn. You got Anthony right over there. And do not forget, Bright Support Hotel Services. That's right, hotel owners out there. Lower your property tax bills because you didn't make as much money last year. I know you're going to make better money this year and next year, but last year you suffered. So why pay property taxes based on money you did not earn? Reach out to our friends over at Bright Support. They can help you, and there's a good chance they could lower what you owe your local jurisdiction. Book your free 30-minute consultation with them right now at brightsupport.net/hotels. That's brightsupport.net/hotels. Call them at 833-411-2233. And of course, tell them No Vacancy News sent you. All right, Anthony, a little sad news around the industry. Mr. Jack DeBoer passed away. He was 90 years old. What an incredible life that gentleman led.
Yeah, and he's one of the gentlemen in the industry that a lot of people, if you don't know the industry, don't know him very well. I didn't know him as well, and I didn't know really his history as well as a lot of people have, but he's definitely a pioneer in a lot of ways.
Yeah, absolutely. And for those of you folks who don't know who Jack DeBoer is, you do know Residence Inn. That is a company he created back in 1975 and sold it to Marriott back in 1987. He is actually, I would say, the father of the modern extended stay hotel movement. Why? Because after he sold Residence Inn, that wasn't enough for him. He went on to go and create Summerfield Hotel Corporation, which he sold to Hyatt. Then in 1995, he went ahead and created Candlewood, developed 130 of those, and then sold off to IHG Hotels and Resorts back in December 2003. And then he went on and created Value Place, which folks out there might know is Wood Spring Hotels out there. I did 195 of those, then sold that company. And back in 2019, he created the Water Walk brand, another extended stay concept. He's also an active pilot and holds the 3-kilometer world speed record for a jet aircraft under 18,000 pounds. So that is a man who knew how to live, knew how to take chances, and knew how to do amazing things.
I don't know. The word underachiever comes to mind. I'll tell you, and it's very interesting that basically the day he passes away, there's an announcement really cementing things that he saw that no one else saw. No one really wanted to be an extended stay when he was getting an extended stay. Nobody really understood it.
Right.
No one really cared about it. No one realized how profitable it was. And then, what was it, yesterday? There was one of the biggest announcements in the history of our industry about an extended stay merger. And
yeah, Extended Stay Hotels of America was purchased by Blackstone and Starwood Capital. Man, Blackstone has bought and sold so many different hotel companies out there. And everybody knows Starwood Capital Group is a company formed by Barry Sternlicht, who originally owned Starwood that you all know about. This is a very different entity than the Starwood Hotels and you know about, but unbelievable what people are thinking about extended stay these days.
Yeah, and they own, Barry Sternlicht and Starwood Capital own one of the lower end extended stays that is doing really well from a profitability standpoint. What's the name of that brand? Do you remember off the top of your head?
Which extended stay?
David will look it up.
Yeah.
Starwood Capital extended stay discount brand. David will figure it out.
Hey,
but I was reading about it over the weekend, and it's on the lower end of the extended stay, but apparently it makes a lot of money because he bought the entire company.
Well, the extended stay in the economy sector is doing absolutely incredible. The Highland Group put out a report, I believe, I don't remember the exact numbers of it. I'll have to get that, but let's just say it's doing great. Hey, Marco Rocca, you guys might know him as a guest on our show from a couple of weeks ago. He's been investing in ESA hotels, as a matter of fact. So, Marco, this must be a pretty exciting move for you to see this company get bought by these two companies. Pretty cool. So, Anthony, another company that's been on the move lately is Radisson Hotels Americas, right? They've been doing lots of changes. Our good friend Jim Alderman took over as the CEO right as the COVID scenario started facing our planet. And they've been making a lot of changes. And somebody we all know and love, Mr. Phil Hugh, was named their Chief Development Officer.
We should have him on the show one day. What do you think?
How about right now? How about we get him on the show right now?
Love it. How come Marco Rocca always steals the scene everywhere I go?
I know, dude. You can't get away from Marco Rocca. Look at he's like 25% their stock is up this morning, he says. That is absolutely incredible. And again, shows you that I don't know how to pick good stocks because I'm not invested in these properties. So sad. So, Phil, how are you doing today, sir?
I'm fantastic. Thanks for having me. That's for sure. That you're talking about the Extended Stay America, but they also own Motel 6. So right. There's something to be said. What's going to happen with that group of hotels? So exciting for Marco and all those guys that own the stock. And as we all know, the infamous Jim Alderman came from there. So
yes, Jim Alderman was running their development just prior to this position that he has now as CEO of Radisson Americas. I did a great gig with Jim back in December of 19 down in Florida at a new concept they had opened up. But we're not here to talk about other brands today, Phil. No. We're here to talk about your collection of brands out there, the changes that you've been going through. What is going on right now today at Radisson?
I tell you, so much happening. I love your background there. The Radisson Blue is certainly a brand that is to be reckoned with.
And let's soak in the Radisson goodness for a second here, Phil. Oh,
I love it.
Look at that.
I tell you, it's one of the few hotel companies that actually got their logo right.
Well, it's certainly a powerhouse in the industry, and we're going to continue to grow the Blue brand and our other brands throughout the USA and the Americas and Canada. So Blue is certainly there, but I'll tell you what's hot is Radisson Core. Our base brand of Radisson is probably our most actively selling franchise right now. We're opening. Renovations are happening quickly during COVID, and opening properties. Just opened one in, getting ready to open one this week in Miami Beach. Opened one this week in Panama City. We opened one in Grand Rapids a few weeks ago, and news at 11 in a few weeks. I'll call you. We've got a nice portfolio of hotels joining the Radisson family as well. So, surprising to me, the full service side of the business is where we are the busiest, and then of course our bread and butter with Country Inn is obviously is really busy and a lot of activity with that. I don't want to say we're repositioning the brand, and I hate that word next gen, but we're certainly taking a look at the brand to make sure that it is a brand that developers want to build, that hotel owners want to renovate and join the flag. We still have a lot of room for growth. There's 500 of them, give or take, but we think we should be pushing that 1,000-room mark, and that's why we're here, is to grow this thing and give a great return on investment to our owners.
I agree. So let's start with Country Inn and Suites, and then we'll get to some of the different flavors of Radisson and even Park Inns, which hasn't, I don't think, been adequately represented here in the United States. But Country Inns and Suites, that's like a solid gold brand that's been kind of hovering under the radar for all of these years. And I like the idea of modernize it, making it more appealing towards owners and developers and customers, because that brand to me always was geared towards that soccer mom mindset. Now, I don't necessarily mean females. I do mean decision makers, and I mean folks that are taking their kids every weekend away to go play sports somewhere, right? That's kind of
right. And it's grown. The majority of the growth was in the Midwest, being from Minnesota. That was the first task at hand. Mm-hmm. Besides putting a great team on the field, when Jim brought me over, we had to put a new team out there. I think we have the best of the best as a development team, and we put the group together on a Zoom, as always, and really looked at a couple of things. One, we've got to have a better return on investment for our owners. Two, we've got to reduce renovation and development costs, and we put that team together along with our operations team. We've already reduced the cost of renovations. We're reducing the operating costs. We formed a franchise development advisory committee, which Radisson had not had in the past.
Really?
They've had a lot of different groups and work groups, but this is actually a committee that works hand in hand with me to talk about what's right, what's wrong, and how do we fix it. And I hate to say, but it's difficult during COVID to get the word out. But once we're back at Hunter Conference in a few weeks and live this summer, I think that you'll see some people turning their head again at what we're doing with country. And I have full support from Jim Alderman saying, look, what do we have to do to make this right? We'll get the consumer side right. Tell us what developers need to build these things. So.
Yeah, and it's so important now because it's kind of like we're starting anew in a lot of ways, but your segment, what you do for a living, is highly competitive. One of the things that people don't realize, I'd say even in the last 10 years, it's incredibly competitive because matter of fact, I just heard of a deal I won't talk about where one hotel owner basically went shopping to a lot of different brands and knew where they wanted to go and used the other brands to get the deal that they wanted from the brand that they were intending on going to in the beginning. So it's extraordinarily competitive. We were talking off camera. I would imagine you were on a lot of Zooms, and you said, well, I was on 4 hours worth of Zooms this morning. So how, as a person that needs to basically be in someone's presence and really start to develop that relationship or continue that relationship, how has this been for you from a competitive standpoint?
Oh, it's highly competitive. I mean, there's a couple pieces there. One, we compete against Marriott, Hilton, Hyatt in all the spaces. Luckily for us, as Glenn said, we've been hovering around. So we have a lot of markets that we have opportunity to grow in that those brands are already taken. So it's a great place to come in and reposition your asset with country. I'm all about relationships. It goes back to just what was ingrained in me from my first sales job. And I started getting on planes when I put the team together. We basically took the month of August to recruit, train. And then in September, I said, look, if you want to travel, we're open to it. And everyone that joined the team has been on airplanes and driving and wearing their masks and been out there trying to build relationships and tell the Radisson story. But I'm on a flight. I usually take 3 to 4 flights a week. And in between, it's Zoom Central, or for us, Team Central. And it's working, but it's hard. I mean, it's hard to get that trust going with people. You really have to look at these hotels because I'm your hotel advisor. Yeah, I'm not trying to sell you something. At the end of the day, I've got to walk your hotel and say, this is what I think is best for it. Every time is the Blue the right brand or Radisson? It could be that, hey, you'd be better off if you can get XYZ brand, go do that. We'll do the next one with you. I don't have to get every sale, but I do have to make sure that I get every relationship right. And that's what my team has been instructed to do.
Right. So let me ask you this. A year ago, in February of 2020, I went to Las Vegas and I went to Radisson's annual conference. None of you weren't there yet. Jim wasn't there yet. Ali Al-Bassani, who's the COO, was there, but they'd already picked Jim, but they didn't announce it publicly. And we were all wondering what was going to happen. Then COVID hit. Jim was announced. And part of me was like, oh my God, what a horrible thing to become CEO at the worst time in history. But Anthony, we've been talking about hitting that great reset button and what an opportunity it is. How amazing was it for you and for Jim and the rest of the executive team to be able to take that time to rethink the entire company, something you had to do anyway, and now something you didn't have to do at the top of the market? What was that process like for you?
You know what? I can't wait to see Jim, and I'll see him I'll give him a hug. The guy's had the toughest entry into a CEO role that I've ever seen, especially with first day closing the office. That was his first task, was to close the corporate office. We're working now to find a date to reopen it this summer. And, you don't get to meet any of the employees and how do you build that culture? But he did. I think what he's done a great job is really embrace Zoom. If I'm on a lot, he's on twice as much on calls. And he has taken the time to look at the brands and really discuss it with the team. You mentioned Ali. We're leaning on Ollie's experience being here prior to us to really go, what do we have and how can we move it forward? And he's not afraid to shrink it to grow it. Mm-hmm. So the quality assets are staying. Those that are not need to go. And I think that philosophy of being willing to get a little smaller, have the right hotels in each brand, and then grow it is our key to success. We're there with Country. We're there with Radisson. And, like you had mentioned, we'll figure out Park, Red and Blue we'll get to later.
Yep.
But our core central two brands are positioned very nicely for growth. And it's really about the quality. And it's the conversations that our operations team has that say, look, you've got to upgrade your property. We know we're in a pandemic, but as you guys know, everybody's maybe taking advantage of this time with low occupancy to renovate.
Yep.
And we want you in the family. But if it's not going to be a high quality property, then we may need to shake hands. And I think that philosophy of working with our franchisees, building that tight bond, that tight relationship, is the reason that we're going to really come out of the recovery quite strong. And I'm excited about it. I like what I'm seeing out there. I like what I'm hearing. I'm not liking that we're not getting enough signatures today, but I know that will come over the next 60, 90 days. Financing is tight. I want to do this, but let me just take a step back. And we are very excited about where we're headed, as I said.
It's interesting because I agree with you. You have to go slow to go fast. So those hotels that you have to pop out because that one hotel destroys your entire brand. One of the things that people don't understand, especially owners, if you're not running your brand right, you're destroying the quality of the entire brand. And then when you complain about a brand, well, you're the one destroying it, not them. They want their brand to be shiny and new. If you're not doing it the right way, you're literally destroying your own business, and you don't even know it.
Well, and here's what I hate the most. Okay, it's all about the consumer, right? If it doesn't look and feel like a Radisson, then you're going to not perform and have a poor hotel investment because the consumer's going to go somewhere else. Mm-hmm. When you walk into a Country Inn, it better look and feel like a Country Inn. You can't put the Country Inn sign on some full service 40-year-old hotel with a restaurant that's closed in front. And vice versa, if you're going to have a restaurant, let's do it right. Let's put Radisson on it and run it like a full service hotel. Quit trying to put the wrong brand on the wrong box. Put the right brand, the right location with the right product. And that's the key, because just because you got the building open doesn't mean that guests are going to love it, because they're looking for they know what these brands are and what they represent.
And I tell you, if you look at 20 years ago, the hotel industry, and you look at it now, with all the brands, your brand and all the brands you've worked on has really done an amazing job for the traveler, because most hotels today, most hotels are good quality hotels. There's different levels, there's different ratings and all that, and different amenities. But at the end of the day, if you look at a hotel 20 years ago, as they say, it's like a box of chocolates. You never knew what you were going to get. Now, I can't remember last time I stayed in a really bad hotel. I just can't remember. I mean, even hotels that I wasn't expecting to stay in, because it is so hyper competitive.
You need to come on a road with me then.
What's that? What is that?
You need to come on a road. We'll do a little road trip, you and I and Glenn, and we'll walk into some hotels, because I walked into a few that I don't know I'd stay in.
No, I spent 10 years, Phil, or 7 years on the road at 108 mom and pops fixing them up on Hotel Impossible.
Yeah,
I've had my share of bad hotels.
Yeah, there's some I walk in and see, you have a huge opportunity here. Why are you not taking care of it? So it's disappointing when you see that, but it happens.
Because they're focused on expenses, they're not focused on the rate. And do it the right way.
And you can't save your way to prosperity.
Right. How many times a day do you say that to an owner?
All the time. It's just craziness. So I don't want to do that. Well, okay, but why? You're going to get a great return on investment. And if I'm asking you to do things, or if any brand is asking you to do things that you don't see a return on, ask yourself why. Because we should be, as a franchise company, we should be here to help you make more money. And if I'm making you do something that isn't going to return to you more guests or a higher rate, then why are we asking for it? And let's look at it. If I walk in and see a chair that's stained, it's either stained or it's not, right? I mean, there's no middle ground. So replace the chair or clean it. And if an owner's unwilling to do that, you need to shake hands and move on to the next opportunity.
What's interesting? Our entire business comes down to, again, when I started the show, I didn't realize I'd be chasing, bed bugs and stains for 7 years. I thought we were past that. And it really comes down to that, because really at the end of the day, you have to have a clean hotel. You have to have a good product. And then, if you want your brand or somebody else's brand, that's a choice. That's a personal choice. It's a feeling. But at the end of the day, you're all in the same business, a clean hotel that's easily accessible.
Well, and as we all know, after COVID, cleanliness is even going to be more scrutinized by the guest. And if they walk in and see something they don't like, there's a choice down the street. So it really has to be a hyper focused area.
So one of the things that you have to then think about is what is right for the owner, what is right for the guest when it comes to that ROI quotient. Because if you look at the industry at all, when you go back to 2019, a lot of the brands were like, we want to do this, we want to do that, we want to do the other things. And a lot of those things weren't necessarily pushing the bar for profitability for owners or engaging guests. How are you thinking about when you have this opportunity now to rethink all of your brands, what is actually going to work and what you think is just something that you don't need to burden your hoteliers with?
Perfect example is we had, silverware and plates in the country inns, which were extremely expensive. You had to wash them. Then you had to put in a 3-compartment sink because of the dishwasher requirements for health code. So, we talked to operations about it. They said, oh, we got it. We removed it. We changed the standard. Now you don't have to worry about adding all that extra equipment in the small kitchen area, and you've increased profitability. And our operations team, it's similar to where I've been in the past, and I loved it when I got here. The real difference is that high touch service level that our operations team give. Ali has a model that I like to call it the management company model, but he has one operations VP for every 40-ish hotels. So when our franchisees call, we answer and we can respond. When a VP has 80, 100, 120 hotels, you just can't be as responsive. And a lot of the models out there are different than what we're doing, and we see that. So it's about getting that ops team out in the field, asking those questions. What are we doing that is costing you money, and how can we help reduce costs to be more profitable? And
I'm sorry, even if you can answer the phone call of 80, 100 people, after the phone call, what is that VP actually able to accomplish? Because they're not hang up the phone, somebody else called them or texted them. And so that to me sounds like, even when you said 40, I was like, well, 40 is about as much as I would be able to handle. So people understand that. It's like 40 is a lot of hotels.
40 was we did that I've seen it a couple of places. 40, I always thought it would be good because if you break it down into like 4 categories, probably your A and B category hotels, they're not calling very much. They don't need help. They're maybe help them with revenue generation, some revenue management. So those hotels that are struggling that really want to have more hands-on touch to them. So it's not like everyone's calling every day.
My point being is 40 seems manageable. Mm-hmm. But you're thinking somebody's doubling that number. I just don't know how they're effective. And especially now, as you said, the word hyper, we're hyper competitive in getting it's a street fight trying to get your brand on a hotel. I mean, you guys are flying in, somebody else is flying in. It's as they say, it's a hyper competitive market with a lot of great brands. So for an owner, it's great because there are a lot of great brands out there.
Yeah, and for us, it's the high touch, right? If you pick up the phone and call Jim Alderman, he's going to answer it. If I need him to jump on the phone with a prospective franchisee or an existing franchisee, he's like, let me know. I have a meeting I'm driving to tomorrow, not flying this week, Glenn. And he said, hey, do you need me to get down there? It's only an 8-hour drive. I can drive down. I'm like, no, I got it. But that's the kind of guy and leader we have with Jim. He's willing to do whatever it takes to service the franchisee. And that flows through the organization that he's creating right now.
And right there, that may get a signed contract because your competition is not doing that. That guy is not getting another franchises potentially is not getting in the car for 8 hours. So I see him pull up to my hotel. I'm like, who's here?
No, exactly. And he cares, and he's in there. We walked a hotel in Minneapolis last 2 or 3 weeks ago. He was there, and I flew up, and. He's in there coaching the GM on, hey, maybe take the design this way, or these drapes may date the room a little bit. Have you thought about doing this? And then they went into some sample rooms. He was really into the operations of the hotel, not just glad handing and saying, hey, I'm here. It was, show me some rooms. Let me get in the kitchen. And that's the kind of hands-on approach we're taking to this, and why I believe franchisees that have kind of been looking at us but not really engaged in the conversation or not allowing us in the conversation at all, or now the phone's ringing a little bit more and people are saying, hey, I like what I'm hearing. Let's have a conversation. And that's all we really ask, right?
Right. Interestingly enough, one of the things about Jim is, and everybody out there, I might be totally biased on this because I've known Jim a long time. I happen to like and respect Jim an awful lot. But what I think is interesting, Phil, is that he came from that development side. He's been at it for decades and decades. A lot of these CEOs, they don't come from that development side. So that must create a little bit more connectivity between him and owners and potential owners in the Radisson family.
Oh my! What a dream for me. Right. So part of our conversation, which happened very quickly, I've known Jim for 25 years or more. He was at Bristol in ops, and I was slinging Holiday Inn Express franchises. And so we've known each other. So when he called, it was sort of like, what about? And in a day, we had figured out that this was the right match. But for me, in the back of my mind, I'm like, I got a development guy as a CEO who gets it, who knows what we do, and he knows what our franchisees do. So it's been great. I mean, I was sitting on a call last week. We're probably getting into hour one was over, heading to hour two. All of a sudden, I get a text from Jim. He said, "You can hang up." I'm like, why? Is something wrong? He goes, "You're much better out selling right now. There's no benefit for you on this call." I don't know any other CEO that would tell one of their executive leaders to say, "Get off the phone. Go do something that's going to help drive revenue. Go talk to some franchisees." And that was great. And having that kind of leader behind you that gets it, but doesn't get it from the C-suite. He gets it from the operator and owner's level and understands what they're going for. He's always talking about return on investment for the owner. And that is critical. Yep.
He's restless. And you want a guy in that position that's restless. And him telling you to get off the phone means it was driving him crazy. It's like, because he's restless. It's like, we got to get more. We got to get more. And that's where you want to be. You want to be with people that are restless. Yeah.
And I'll tell you, once the the recovery happens and he can get back out there traveling, it's going to be great to get out there to a road show, because I don't think there's a lot of developers out there that are converting their hotel owners, I should say. Radisson's not there. They don't think of Radisson. It's got high brand awareness, but they don't know what we're doing in the blue space. They don't know what we're doing in the red space. They don't know about Radisson Collection, which is, upper upscale luxury that could be on a lot of these hotels that haven't branded or coming out of COVID need more of a brand awareness. Country and Radisson, that story is going to be great, but I think, the future of where we go with red and blue is very exciting. We're opening a red, I'd say probably about 60 days. I walked it. It's absolutely beautiful right at the Miami airport, right across from the rental car center. So, very close to the terminals, and can take the train from the rental car center. So I'm really excited to see as those new hotels open and how the exposure to that brand, explodes.
Excellent. So could you do us a favor and share a little bit about what the differences are between the Radisson brand, the blue brand, and the Radisson red brand? These brands are more popular or have more distribution in Europe, for example, than here. So a lot of our American audience might not understand the distinctions between them.
Now, what I like about it is I said to you, I didn't think Radisson would be where all our activity would be when I came over. I thought we'd do a few a month, but we're doing many more than that. So Radisson's our core brand, full service, meeting space, hotel that is defined in, basically every urban market and can be located along highways or in downtown areas. So we think that brand has a lot of growth. I jumped to blue because it's sort of the upper upscale #1 hotel in Europe, Radisson Blue. It's just very luxurious. It's got a great feel and taste to it. And as Anthony said, we got the logo right. I agree. I think it's great signage that shows that this product is different than a blue. And then red plays in that space that I think is still being filled out by brands like Indigo and Moxie. Really for the younger generation that is looking for more of a lifestyle type hotel. I like where it's positioned. The ones we've got several that we're talking to right now. So it gives us a different brand there. And then moving down into Country Inn, I think explains itself. But one thing Radisson has done extremely well is we don't have brands that step on each other. Blue is at a different price point than Radisson. Radisson is different than Country. And then as we over the next several months define Park Inn in the United States, that'll be positioned differently. And we just don't want to have brands that step on a sister brand, which is
thank goodness
challenging right now.
Because I'm getting real tired of hearing swim lanes, and everybody kind of goes over each other into the other territories over there. All right, so what I'd like to do is I'd like everyone out there, and Dave, maybe you could bring up a picture of this too, the Radisson Blue Berlin Aquarium. It's one of the coolest hotels I've ever seen, but I know that we have some pictures of the Radisson Blue at the Mall of America in Minneapolis there. Dave, if you want to bring that up right now.
That's my home away from home.
Yeah, and Phil, I got to tell you, the Park Inn brand, you've got so much opportunity with that brand here in the United States because nobody has any real understanding yet of of what it's all about. Yeah, I love this building too.
Yeah, that hotel is just phenomenal. I'm there. That's where I stay when I go into Minneapolis, and it's just a great hotel. It's connected right to the mall. Mm-hmm. Walk in, you've got just a playground there that is unbelievable. I still haven't been able to explore all the corners of the mall. That's that picture right there is actually the pre-function space outside of the ballroom. So really cool space and allows just a different experience. Yeah.
I went to the Mall of America once, and they have like 4 Starbucks, and they have it's so huge. They have the same store in different quadrants of the facility because it's such a big place.
It's unbelievable. Yeah, it's crazy. They've got a Lego land in the middle of the thing. You can ride a roller coaster. It's crazy.
Now, what's interesting to me is this hotel, I guess, is probably about 10 years old now, but I'm not exactly sure. But the design still works. It still looks really, really great.
No, it's great. And they continue to upgrade, and it's a well-run hotel. We actually manage that hotel and own it, and it's a phenomenal representation. This is what we come and show our potential franchisees when they come to town, and frankly, whether they are coming to do a Country Inn or a core Radisson. I think this shows them that the breadth of customer that we can touch at Radisson.
Right. Michael Weinberg, friend of the show, asked, what percentage of your properties are in the United States versus other areas around the world, Phil?
You know what? I don't have the exact number. I'd hate to just rip one off, but I would say that our portfolio is probably about 40% of the entire. That's a guess off the top of my head.
Yep.
In 7 months, I haven't asked that one yet, but I'll get the answer out on LinkedIn. I promise.
That's why we have people come on the show so we could make them learn things about their own.
That's what they. All the folks go, "Are you ready for Anthony and Glenn?" I said, it's like old Ho Week. We're having fun doing this, but I said they'll get me 4 or 5 times, and I don't know the answer, but we'll be all right.
Well, isn't that a good thing? If you're selling, if you don't know the answer, just be honest about it, and then find out later, right?
I'm getting old. My memory's poor, so I'll get back to you on that. I used to always say, hey, they need some gray hair in the room. Now I'm the gray hair in the room. I don't know what happened. I'm not the youngest guy anymore. I don't know what happened.
Yeah, it's funny. I've talked to a lot of people about that, and I used to be the youngest guy in the room, and everybody I know say I used to be the youngest guy in the room. Now I'm the oldest guy in the room.
I looked down. I'm like, holy cow, what happened? When you look up in the mirror, like, who's this guy in the mirror? So
I think I'm the oldest guy on this podcast right now.
That's why I hang out with you, Anthony. So whenever I'm in the same room as you, I'm never the oldest guy in the room. All right. So I do believe we have a picture of that awesome Berlin hotel. So Dave, if you could bring that one up. Obviously, it's outside Phil's jurisdiction, but let's see inside the building what the aquarium looks like. Keep going.
It's gorgeous.
Yeah, that's not it either. That's still not it. Still not it. How is that the marquee picture not coming up? You kidding me?
Well, I can tell you, I haven't had a chance to tour a lot of these, but Jim and I are working on our calendar. I think he's got his vaccine shot, and we're going to go spend a couple of weeks in Europe just looking at the product, because we need to be able to represent, similar to what they're doing there over here. And I think a lot of owners are looking for a home. They are dissatisfied with their brand, or they, as you said, the swim lanes are overlapping, or there are no lanes. And with us, you're going to be clearly defined in the marketplace, and not be looking at a sister property across the street that could be, hurting your returns.
Excellent. Anthony?
No, I'm just listening, and I wouldn't want to be you, Phil. It's like I said, it's a very competitive market, but it's fun, right? I mean, after all these years, are you still having fun?
Oh, I'm having the most fun I've had in a long time. I went from somewhere 100 people and down to, we've got an elite team of about 15 that I've worked with for years. I handpicked the team that is here. They've all worked for me somewhere else in the industry, or I've known them for 20, 25 years. I mean, think about Charlie Isola down there in Texas. You know, we used to be at HFS together, and I think that was 3 name changes ago. So Charlie's on our team, and get guys like Fran Talrico, who's been in the business doing, has had my job before. So really experienced guys and gals that are not looking to sell a franchise, but really help you grow your portfolio and become more profitable.
And being that it's the week of St. Patrick's Day, congrats to Fran and his brand new basement pub. I saw some pictures of that online. So good man. Sorry, Anthony, didn't mean to cut you off.
Phil, isn't it great? You get to a certain age where on Friday you could say, okay, I have a new gig. And on Monday, you've developed your team in 2 days. You call people and you're like, especially during COVID, where people may be on the sidelines, and you all of a sudden you have your team and you're like, and then you look at your team. I've recently done this, just a lot less than you, like 4, 5, 6 people. And I look at them, I'm like, man, we got rock stars.
Oh, I've got a call with them today at 4:30, and it's the best. I'm like, bounce ideas, share what's working, share what's not working. Let's talk about our wins. I'm not sitting there saying, okay, here's how you go do the job. It's how do we do the job better? Who's having success out there? What are our challenges? We're not going to be the company that comes out with the least expensive structure. We're not going to throw the most money at you. And that's just reality. That's not where we play. So we have to go out there and talk about our strengths. And this group of people are really strong, really solid. And I think you'll see some wonderful growth, and which provides more opportunities to our franchisees and more opportunities for all of our employees.
So give young people a lesson, or even older people a lesson on you're kind of repositioning this great brand. You have all these new people on the team. You're relatively new. We're coming out of COVID, and somebody on the call at 4:00 today just is completely in a different direction, thinks that you guys are going in a different direction. And I have an idea, and I'm afraid to bring it up because it's pretty radical. And how would you tell someone in a meeting to handle that?
In a meeting? Hey, for me, I want all ideas. I mean, I don't care how crazy they are or not. In this group, they bring them. I mean, they come up with some stuff that I'm like, okay, I like it, but let's think through the downstream effects. And it's really it's not a bad idea. It's what is the effect tomorrow, 6 months, 2 years from now? So I hope that in any meeting in my past, at least 10 years, maybe a long time ago, that they're not afraid to ask the question. What I see with this group is none of them took the elevator to the top. They've all taken the stairs. And the younger guys or gals that come on the team want to take the elevator. All of a sudden, well, I want your job. Well, this group of people took the stairs. They learned on every step something that improved them, and that's why they're in the jobs they are today. Many of them had senior leaderships with teams that decided, hey, I now want to be an individual contributor, and I like the brands and I like the direction of what I'm heading. So,
it's interesting. I just had my partner Kimberly. We were at a dinner a couple weeks ago in California, and she looked perplexed, and I was like, "What's going on?" She goes, "I'm just really excited that every single person on the team came from nothing. Like everybody, like you said, took the stairs, the elevator, and everybody worked their way into the table." And I didn't look at it that way. I never look at it that way, but it's true. And there is a different feeling when you have a team that is taking the stairs.
Yeah, it's that old adage: you woke up on third base and I thought you hit a triple, but
right. Yeah.
It doesn't work. Sooner or later, it's going to get there. And in this business, it's about relationships. The phones it's ringing because I know you've done the right thing, and I know that when I have a problem, you guys are going to fix it. And say that's people. Jim and I work different paths of the business. So people are calling Jim going, hey, let's talk. I've got opportunity here. And it's companies that Radisson hasn't worked with in the past. And that's because they know and they trust the leadership that we're not going to make decisions that are not well thought out and that are, going to penalize our franchisees.
Yeah. Jim came from a lot of different brands, but he did spend some time with Kimpton, for example, which is really informed him a lot on how to help this particular organization. I think we got that photograph. I just wanted everybody to see how cool this aquarium is in the middle of the Berlin property, Dave. All right, here it comes. How awesome is that thing? Huh?
Oh, that is cool.
Yeah, there's actually, I think it's like a sea life aquarium or something like that.
I've never seen anything like that in a hotel. That's insane.
Yeah, because there's an aquarium that's attached to it, and they built that into it. So that's actually part of the aquarium that's located next door or something like that. It's really cool.
Glenn, if you want to start selling franchises on the side, let me know.
Yeah, right. Speaking of selling franchises on the side, Phil, if somebody wants to get started in the franchise business or find success in it, if you're young, if you don't have decades worth of connections like you do, if you haven't been going to all these conferences for years and years, how do you get started? How do you build those relationships? How do you get to the point where you can start making your first sale or two?
Tell you what, I've been fortunate enough that I think I was trained by the best in the business, and you sell a franchise today the same way we did 30 years ago, 25 years ago. It's about getting out in the marketplace and knocking on doors. I've brought in several people on this team that weren't in franchising their entire career. And I said, just listen, run the playbook. This is a process sale. Get out into the market, walk into every hotel, drop your business card, talk to GMs, talk to owners, and that's where you find opportunity. I'm not walking into X hotel because I want to convert it. I'm walking into X hotel because I want to build a relationship with the guy that owns it or lady that owns it and do something else with them, maybe at another asset. It's not the ones you're walking in that are the ones you usually sign. It's the one that they say, no, but my buddy has a hotel and he's not sure what direction to go with it. Go call him. And that holds true today. You can't do it from your behind a desk, and you can't do it flying over your markets. Get in your car, drive, open up, get out of the car and walk into hotels and do it after dinner. Go have an early dinner and go out at 6 or 7 or 8 o'clock at night. That's when the owners are going to be there.
Right.
You know, they're not going to, and you don't want to be bothering them during prime time checkout and check-in. So you work the angles where they're not there. And obviously every segment, there's going to be a lot more owners at the Country Inn than there are at the Radisson compared to the Blue. So you have to have different angles to get to the bigger hotels, which are.
And at the end of the day, fill a need, right? Fill a need, and you can sell anything. But, you know, I always say when you're talking to someone, and I'm the worst salesman in the world, but I've learned this through the years, don't sell anything. Sell yourself and then follow it up. You know, people, anytime I've been hired in my career, I've been hired because someone else told them you can trust that guy. He's going to get it done. So whether it be your brand or any other brand, it's about trust. And, you know, you can put all the bells and whistles you want. And, you know, if you don't, and again, timing is everything. If you talk to me at 4 o'clock in the afternoon, you know, about maybe my other hotels, I have a different headset than 6 o'clock or 7 o'clock when we're having a drink and I'm a little bit more relaxed and I get to know you as a person. I'm in a different mind than I am at 4 o'clock in the afternoon.
And not, you know, if the brand works, it works. I mean, don't try to say, oh, you know, every hotel should be a Radisson. It shouldn't. I mean, this hotel works for this. If not, go a different direction. Right. I was on the phone with a developer and a lot of hotels. I said, there's no way we're the right brand for that hotel. If you can get that brand, go sign it tomorrow and run. And guess what? The next opportunity he has, he's going to call us.
Right.
We gave him good, solid guidance that allowed him to make a right decision.
You know, I'm still a big fan of B&H here in New York City, where you buy your cameras and stuff. I was going on a big trip to Italy with my family, and I walked in, and I literally had about $1,800 worth of camera equipment and stuff, and the gentleman put back 70%. And he goes, buy this camera, buy this. That's all you need. You're buying too much. And right after that, I was like, I'm never going anywhere else. The man just lost about $1,000 worth of business simply because I didn't know what I was doing. And he told me I didn't know what I was doing instead of trying to sell, because I was very vulnerable at that point. He could have sold me another $1,000 worth of equipment.
Now you're loyal to that store forever.
Unbelievably loyal. Somebody else can really be a bad salesperson in that store. I'm still going back because that's a moment I'll just never forget, because that's what you want to do. When owners are vulnerable and they don't know what to do and they have their generational wealth at stake, because a lot of these big hotels that you're talking about, I mean, you're putting a lot of eggs in a basket. And, you know, when they're taking their first or second shot at something like that, I mean, they're literally giving you their business.
Yeah. And, that's we have to be there to listen, to figure out what's working and what's not, and be honest with them. It's like going to a restaurant expecting a great meal and it was average, but if the server was over the top and he developed a rapport with you, you kind of forget that the meal wasn't as great as you wanted, but the experience was better. It was great.
Sure. But more importantly, do you have a brand that Glenn can buy for his Glenn Houseman pool house and barbecue?
Resort Pool Club and Smokehouse.
Yeah, is there a brand that fits that? No.
We do have Radisson individuals. Okay, so he probably only has he has a 6-bedroom house, so maybe it'll qualify. But we launched Radisson individuals. Almost forgot about that. That's our entry into, I hate to say soft space, but I say hard branding, because Radisson is very present on the sign, and we believe that the uniqueness of the property is going to create the experience. But Radisson needs to be part of this and loud. We just opened our first in the U.S. in St. Augustine. Great hotel. I think it was built like 5 or 6 years ago. Really, really great. And we've got a large pipeline of very unique hotels that don't fit into Radisson and don't fit into country or blue or red, but have this unique, attribute to them and character that we think we can fill that void in. And we are, at least to date, the owners are ringing the phones, and we're having a lot of conversations around that. And what they've done in Europe with it is really, really been great. They've probably opened, I'd say, about 20 to 30 right now.
Regardless of brand, what is the hottest markets? I think I know, but I'm not sure. Hottest markets in America right now. The 3 top markets in America. What would you say they are? Wow.
You know what? People ask me that question a lot. We're everywhere. I don't know. Maybe if you look at it from a consumer side of things rather than a development side, Florida's on fire. I mean, I live here in Tampa and was down in Fort Myers prior to this, and it's been busy since September. So occupancy wise, this is it. I talked to some friends of mine that own hotels on the resort side, and they're full. I was at Orlando this weekend. The hotel was sold out. Couldn't get a chair by the pool if you wanted one.
Wow.
And so I'd say from that side, Florida's on fire. From a development perspective, franchises, we're everywhere. We've got conversations going on in every corner of the world, from Oregon to Miami. I've got things working in all over Canada, LATAM. I think we have 12 applications in house right now in Latin America. Not that all of them will sign, but they're showing interest by sending in their paperwork, and we'll go from there. But no, we're busy everywhere, which surprises me. You would think California would be very slow, but we're having many conversations out there, because I think owners are setting back, realizing what's going to happen, and now's the time to, if I'm going to make a change, now's the time, and now's the time to get the renovation done.
And thank you, Phil, for confirming what we've been saying. Now is a time of potentially unprecedented opportunity out there right now, today. I think things are going to really shape up in the next 6 months for people to take advantage of those opportunities. Phil, I got Gordon Storm is saying Austin is a great property. I actually love the Radisson in Austin because it's like 2 blocks from that bridge where all the bats live under, which is really cool. That's
I haven't been there yet. I'll get there.
Go check that out. One question for you though. If you're selling franchises for a hotel company, how many are you supposed to sell a year? What are the expectations with that? How does all that kind of come together?
You know what? It's all based on history, and what do you want to? What's the budget you have to do? I think our competition looks at it because they're trying to drive a stock price, so their decisions are made a little differently. I think we methodically sat down in the summer, which I knew nothing. Okay, all I have is some years of experience, but I knew nothing about Radisson growth. And like I said, I was like, yeah, we're going to be heavy on country inn because I think that's where the play is. And I was 100% wrong. I mean, it's Radisson is playing the most solid right now. So it is,
Excellent.
It's trends. You look at the trends of what was done. I went back to 16, 17, 18, 19, looked at the trends. Finance obviously has a goal in mind of what they want to hit. So you try to get there, and then you break it up by segment of where you think you can be successful. And for us, it's different when you're walking into a hotel company that hasn't had huge growth in the past, and most of the places I've been is, we've been high volume places. So you look at those numbers and go, I know we can do better than that based on my trends from other companies. And then you look at here going, okay, this is where I think we can get. So we were looking in, coming into 21, hopefully COVID would have maybe recovered a little quicker. That looks like that's not going to happen till the summer. So our 21 goals, while aggressive, I think for Radisson, its history, are not aggressive from what I think we can do in the future. And then like you add in the whole COVID situation and being shut down, it wasn't an easy task. So I got an email. It's funny you asked. I got an email on Friday at 5 from finance that said, we need to sit down next week and reforecast the year based on where we are today. And nothing's better when you can reforecast and take a look at the business, because it's ever changing.
And the quickest way to growth is sell a hotel that's very successful, and word of mouth, gets out there in like 3 seconds.
All day long, especially when you're showing them of how to operate the property less expensively. When a new build comes up and it's not, it's $30,000 a key less than, what others have built it for. So really trying to value engineer those buildings. And a lot of these were done prior to me getting here. There's a friend of mine was building a country inn, and I just really watched what he was doing. And he's like, look, I know I can save a lot on this hotel. And he brought it in significantly below what other builders have done. And it's reducing square footage in areas, because that's where the real reductions are, is there's too much square footage in the building. So we're looking at that. And then taking a look at, like I said earlier, the operating costs of where can we save so that there's not so much overhead.
Excellent. Phil, any final words before we let you go?
No, when can I come back, man? I love doing this. This is great. I haven't done this enough.
Soon, because I know you and Jim have got something big in store for us, and we're going to have you guys on when you in tandem with whatever big announcements you have, which I don't even know. They wouldn't even trust me with this. So
we've got a lot going on, and I said we'll bring the Jim show on back with me when we can talk about a big announcement.
You know what, Glenn,
ready to go. So
Glenn, when this is over, I'm going to guess what it is, and then we'll see if I'm right. I think I know what it is. I'm just going to guess based on, I don't know, just based on osmosis. But let me ask you, Phil. You moved to Tampa, so you bought Derek Jeter's house.
No. We were set in Fort Myers, happy as can be, and I was up here playing golf. It's funny enough, my brother-in-law was the SVP of global operations for Hilton, and he retired, and he's now, I don't think you can call it retirement. He's the executive director running Innisbrook Resort. We've got 4 golf courses, and I was up here playing golf with him, and I went home to my wife and I said, you ought to retire and we ought to move up there, and just for a change. And that was Saturday morning. Friday afternoon, we bought a house. Or I'm sorry, Sunday afternoon, we bought a house. So 24 hours later, we were fully committed. So,
well, check out my friend's restaurant, Joe Toro. You'll love it.
I got it written down on my list. We're out exploring, and it's nice to, I like South Florida, but this is a little different weather. Big city, Super Bowl champs. I'm from Pittsburgh, but it was kind of some nice energy with the Bucs, and then we had the Lightning are playing great, and it's a really active, fun city with a lot going on, and a great airport to get to Minneapolis.
Yeah. Excellent. Phil, thank you so much for being here, my friend.
Oh, I love it. Thanks, gang. I appreciate it. Look forward to seeing you in person soon.
I'll see you May 10th in Atlanta at the Hunter Hotel Investment Conference in person, where I think we might be doing a panel together, and we'll be broadcasting live from down there. So I'm really excited to get back on the road for real events. So
I look forward to seeing you guys. Thank you so much.
Take care. Be good. All right. So, Anthony, you're all about this BNH thing, but I got to tell you, I love my guy, Mike Conyers over at Sweetwater. They're where I get all my gear from, too. So, I don't know if we're going to have to do East Coast, West Coast kind of battle here, but I love myself some Sweetwater.
All right, my friend. Great show as usual, and a lot of stuff happening. And listen, all we're talking about is going forward. This is great, isn't it? You know what we got to do? We got to do some shots, David. Find some shots for tomorrow's show from the first week or 2 or 3, like just stills, just like, take some stills of some of the video that we shot and just look at us then and look at us now.
March 2021, much better than March 2020. That's great. All right, everybody. Thank you so much for being here. But remember, guys, reach out to Bright Sport. Seriously, I don't know how many different ways I can ask you. It only takes 5 minutes to start. There's no risk to you. It's a rare opportunity to reduce a large operating expense, your tax assessment. Book your free 30-minute consultation right now at brightsupport.net/hotels. Or give them a call at 833-411-2233. Tell them No Vacancy News sent you. All right, everybody, let's wrap this show up. Have an incredible day. Remember, you've got one life, so blaze on and